Hey loves, Paula here with the Healed Love Era. I'm your nurse, your health coach, and your truth-telling big sister. I want you to grab your favorite beverage, whether it be water, coffee, tea, beer, wine, whatever comfort beverage you want, hot chocolate that you want to bring along, and come with me to heal so that we can show up transparently and authentically in real love and true partnerships in our Healed Love Era. You know, when we are hurt and we do not heal, we show up wounded, we show up as half a person, we show up hardened. You know, after we have been used, abused, manipulated, betrayed, something shifts. And within that shift, we move on to the next person. We think we are showing up for love, but in reality, we're showing up with a wall up, with our guard up. We're looking for somebody else to fix it. We're not looking within. And we basically want to make sure that we are not going to be the person who loses again. So we adjust. We settle. This may look like a man who says, I'm never going to get attached again, but I'll show up enough to get what I want physically. And I'm not going to just pick on the men. It may be a woman who shows up and says, I'm not going to have my heart broken again. I'm not going to lose myself again, but I'm going to show up enough to get what I need financially. In reality, you're not looking for true love or partnership. You are looking to get what you want in that situation. And that may hurt a little bit, but hopefully it'll help you grow. Please remember, I always say these things in love, in hopes that it helps you grow into the person you want to be so that you can find the true love and the true partnership that you have probably longed for but not been able to find because we've been so busy blaming everybody else and not looking within. So with that said, you are not making decisions from an evil place. You're basically making them from survival mode. You know, some of those childhood wounds, or like a parent who couldn't show up for you, or maybe that first love that you had when you were a teenager or in your 20s that broke your heart that you've never healed from, or your most recent relationship could be the reason that you're still living in survival mode. But that basically means that you have unprocessed pain that you really need to heal from. You've either stuffed it down or you've learned to cope with it by finding other things, people, drinks, whatever, to not deal with it in reality, because that might mean that it would require self-reflection that could look like rejection. But in order for us to find what it is that we want, what we're looking for, instead of just hoping that it shows up, we have to do some work to heal so that we can show up fully and be the person that we want to be in those scenarios. We can't just hope that it happens. You know, these are learned behaviors and they have to be unlearned and retaught. So that unprocessed pain could look like, you know, grief that was never expressed, like that parent that never showed up. Or it could be humiliation that never was soothed, or anger that was never really acknowledged. It was just stuffed down. So instead of offering vulnerability, you know, we basically offer leverage. Or instead of showing up intimately or in, you know, risking intimacy, there's a control of exchange. Or that may look like playing games. You know, if you are playing games with somebody, you are not ready for true love and a real partnership. You're looking to control the narrative so you don't end up getting hurt, or so that you can get what you want, or a combination of both. You know, here's the problem when we show up in survival mode and we're not fully healed. You are still either angry, maybe humiliated, you may be grieving, you could be hurting, and when you show up like that, the other person catches on that you are guarded, that you're not showing up fully and transparently looking for love. You're looking to be healed. You're looking to soothe that hurt. You're looking to express that grief, but not fully. And when they catch on to that, they don't feel safe. So they're going to stop showing up authentically. And that dynamic is going to continue to chase each other until neither one of you can take it anymore. When you show up like that, you're not just hurting the other person, you are hurting yourself. And in reality, most people don't want to lose. They don't want to win either. They just want to feel safe. They want to feel like both people are showing up authentically and honestly and are looking for the same things. We want intimacy, you know, without strategy. We want desire without deception, provision without manipulation, or affection without suspicion. And guarded love is always going to be chaotic because people aren't healed. You're guarded. You have your walls up. You can't possibly have a peaceful relationship if you're not healed. But peaceful love, which takes healing and courage, will bring peace. You will also show up, you know, once you heal, that you're not going to try to take it out on the person in front of you. And that is going to be your emotional intelligence and your emotional maturity. You can't have one or the other. You can be emotionally mature, but if you don't show up with that emotional intelligence, it's just not going to work. Vice versa. You can be emotionally intelligent, but if you're not emotionally mature, it's not going to work. The most important part is with the emotional intelligence and the emotional maturity is the healing that you need to do in your own heart so that you can learn to show up for yourself in love, not abandon yourself, and self-discipline. And once you can do that, you are ready to show up for somebody else. You're not looking for somebody else to fill that void or fix it for you. And that is what it looks like to show up in your healed love era. And that's rare. It is rare, not because it's impossible, but because it does require accountability instead of armor. It does require healing instead of being in denial. It does require showing up for yourself rather than expecting somebody else to show up for you. I hope you enjoyed today and listening in. Continue drinking that water or beer or wine or whatever it is that you're finding comfort in. I will no longer be on Spotify and Apple. You will find me on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram. I will be doing these on the daily, so look for those to come. And we're going to get into all types of past wounds and trauma and understanding how we can change that so that we can show up authentically and transparently, not again just in love relationships, but also friendships, at work, and in other areas of our life. Everybody have a great Friday evening. Bye, loves.